What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and we have a brand new clan in Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. It is the DYURE clan, so of course I'm going to do a full breakdown and analysis. But first, download Gemstone Legends, a mobile RPG puzzle match game. Use the link in the description to start with free stuff, including a bonus hero. Alright, so first of all, I absolutely love the art on these. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm a collector as much as I am a player, and I really appreciate good art, and I think they did a really nice job on the design for these. We get a pretty unique clan here, and hopefully the animations are good on it too. Now, one of the first things I always like to take a look at is the trait, because sometimes a clan is worth summoning for simply because of the trait. And sometimes more than the trait, of course, if the champs are good. But this particular trait is called Sharp Strike, and it says each normal attack increases the caster's crit damage by some percent for 4 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Now, this is an epic hero, so of course the higher the rarity, the higher that percent's going to be, and it looks like it's going to go up to 25% for a level 22 trait, and this could be a really good trait. Eventually, I think because of the number of clan traits we're getting that deal with crit rate and crit damage, we're probably going to start to see crit builds. I would not be surprised. And so you may want to have these companions that have crit rate and crit damage to be able to stack them on top of each other whenever you possibly can. So let's take a look at the individual skills on these champions now. I'm going to start out with the male, and I always like to look at the passive because it's the first thing that affects the battlefield. Withering Power. Normal attacks deal additional damage equal to 12% of the enemy's missing constitution. So note that it's really powerful at the beginning, but it gets worse as the match goes on. Up to 2,000% of the caster's strength. Normal attacks reduce the enemy's constitution recovery by 10% for 4 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. The lower the enemy's constitution, the faster the caster's attack speed, up to 65%. That's actually kind of cool. So while it may be doing less damage as you go, speed is increasing. Maximum attack speed is achieved when the enemy's constitution falls below 60%. That's actually pretty good as far as attack speed goes, because I mean, in this day and age, constitution can go real fast right at the beginning of the match. All right, the active skill, Slingshot Sting, shoots a powerful poisonous sting at the current enemy, dealing damage equal to 10% of the enemy's max constitution up to 2,000% of the caster's strength, and silences them for 4 seconds. If other enemies exist, the sting slingshots to hit the farthest enemy, dealing damage equal to 480% of the caster's strength and causing 2 seconds of fear. Fear can be really good. And here, you know, we're getting a type of damage dealing that we've gotten a lot of recently, which is damage based on some type of constitution. In this case, it's the enemy's constitution, but it's capped at strength. So of course that's leading us to need to go with brutal as a trait. The ultimate, Gale Garrison. The caster summons a strong wind lasting 5 seconds, pushing all enemies in the area towards the target direction. Enemies can't move while pushed, taking damage equal to 330% of the caster's strength each second. That has the potential to be very good. Allies caught in the wind have their strength increased by 20% with an additional 35% attack boost and 25% life steal for the caster. If an ally dies in the wind, the caster's active skills are refreshed. So that's really awesome. And honestly, as I'm looking at this, the passive and the active skills look really good for those game scenarios where you don't use an ultimate, and then the ultimate on top of it looks really good and supports those other the active skill in particular, but it's making the entire package better as the match goes on. So this is looking like a damage dealer type of champion. Now, can it hold up? Because we have a lot of these in the game. Can it hold up to, you know, like the female Nereid and the male Water and Sun and Romulus, and like there's so many champions in the game right now that deal a ton of damage. So can it crack that top tier? It doesn't even need to. Obviously, we need depth in this game, but he's looking like a pretty tough damage dealer right off the bat. Let's take a look at the female now. Um, Swift Shadow. The caster gains attack speed boost based on the caster's current dodge rate. I love stuff like this because you can go to town increasing the dodge rate as much as possible. It really helps her defense at the same time increasing her offense, which is absolutely the kind of stuff you want to be getting, that 2-for-1 type of deal in games like this. And not a lot of champs in this game have that going on. Damage dealt increases by 12% for 4 seconds after each successful dodge, stacking up to 3 times. During battle, if damage taken exceeds 5% of the caster's max constitution, the caster becomes immune to the exceeded damage and gains 10% dodge rate increase for 5 seconds, only triggered once every 6 seconds. And now it goes from being like 2-to-1 benefit to like 3-to-1 to 4-to-1. Like, it's compounding here, which is really interesting. Poisonous Mist is the active skill, fires a poisonous sting at up to 3 random enemies, each sting dealing damage equal to 320% of the caster's strength. Again, this is just screaming add brutal, by the way. Creating a poisonous mist at impact point for 6 seconds. Enemies in the mist take damage equal to 180% of the caster's strength as true damage, so ignoring all defensive stats and traits and things like that, which is really cool. You know what? That for being a ranger, which by the way I don't think I mentioned yet, these are rangers. That's AoE. That's area of effect that we don't often see on rangers that typically target one opponent at a time. So when you're looking at these numbers, you have to multiply this by like 3. Like multiply 320% by 3, and that is the amount of damage it's just the active skill is doing, and it's doing it at a constant rate. And then you get this 180% true damage. That's looking really strong. Piercing Spike strengthens caster for 6 seconds, increasing dodge rate by 20%, making that passive skill go crazy now. Normal attacks target the enemy with the highest constitution, firing a spike that pierces the battlefield. The spike always hits enemies in its path, dealing true damage equal to 12% of their max constitution, up to 2000% of the caster's strength. If an enemy hit by spikes is in the poison mist, the enemy takes 50% increased damage for 5 seconds from the mist and is silenced for 3 seconds. So just an enormous amount of damage again being dealt here, but then we get the CC on top of it at the end with the silence, which is kind of cool. And you know, there's just a lot of ingredients to make this a really, really strong champion overall, with the increased speed and the dodge, and you get, you know, damage based on max constitution, and you know, you can put brutal on to try and increase the cap on the strength, and this is looking like a powerhouse type of damage dealer too, in addition to the male. I am leaning a little more towards the female being better based on what I'm reading here, because she's AoE. She's going to hit a bunch of heroes instead of just targeting one. And that has the potential to be amazing. It just, here's what you got to look for with AoE heroes and whether they're going to be good or bad. There is the possibility you could spread the damage out too much. And then you know what it's like when you almost have killed the enemy team, but then they're like Mail Water and Sun goes off and everybody heals back up, and then it's a whole new match. So you do want to be able to kill the whole team quickly enough. Interestingly enough, this mist can just kind of hang around and just keep doing damage. So it could, with enough vigor and leveling, you know, totally just go through a match and maybe even fight through a Mail Water Sun type of situation there. So I like her. I like her a lot. I'm really excited about her. I am with him too. I think we got good champs here. I'm personally going to be leveling and working on her. And the traits that I'm favoring are your typical damage dealing traits. So I had already mentioned brutal is necessary for both. Especially because of the increased speed you're getting with her too. aggressive is going to be good because the attacks are going to increase that strength even more, and you're just going to want that brutal strength to be as high as possible. So pair those together. I'm not sure if you need agile because of the increased speed already. There is a soft cap in this game where like you can just add too much speed and you're getting diminishing returns on what's happening. So if you want to do without agile on this one, I think that's okay. I might want to test it out and see how she is with agile, but you know, maybe not on that one. And then I like fierce as well on this. So like you know, those are four you could potentially go with. And then if you're worried about survivability, because that is something I worry about with her, sometimes you get these really great damage dealers that die too easily, and there's no point in having a hero that deals so much damage if it's not alive. If it's not alive, it's not dealing damage. So maybe something like honorable would be good to protect her too. Or because strength is going to be so high, you could put the gold tongue trait on her, steadfast, and create a pretty massive shield potentially. So that could be good. Anyway, yeah, those traits they work on both. That's probably what I would go with both. They're kind of doing the same but different types of things. So yeah, good luck to you. Let me know what traits you're going to put on either him or her, and let me know which one you're going with, or both. I always like to know what the community thinks and what your testing is showing. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and I will catch you in the next one.